they have covered ground zero with countless all-seeing eyes. So they have, like Kilroy was here, this is what we did, you know. They have left their symbology there big time. And then the final one on a tower is this card here, which is Lightning Struck Tower. So we see destruction. We see towers representing protection, and then the destruction of that showing you that you're vulnerable, that you can't protect yourself. And that's one of the archetype myths that the planners of 9/11 wanted people to subconsciously grasp. Okay? Now we had the planners of this not only touching our subconscious mind, but we also had them doing symbols to the conscious mind too. And one of the things this was to represent jihad, right? Well, you know, the Palestinians or bin Laden or something, you know, jihad against America, you know. That was one of the things that this whole thing was to represent. So, I've only gotten started on all the icons on this, but I want to go interrupt this to, this was interesting. In the 1990s, it was like somebody had been reading my books or something. I don't know. I did a 7-volume series on the Illuminati. The who, what, where. If you want to know, if you really want to see how it all lays out organizationally, who it is, who the families are, how they operate, on and on. And these are 2 of the books that I wrote on the Illuminati mind control. The third one, I don't have an English copy, but this is the Japanese translation. Now, one of the things that the news media said is they came out and said that I'm a self-styled author. Now, I've been several times in books in print, and there's half a dozen publishers that publish my stuff, but they say I'm a self-styled. I just invented that I was an author. Well, you've right here seen one published book on my part that's in a foreign language, Japanese. Most of my books I've loaned out, so I don't. And if I brought them all, it takes a big box to show all those books that I've written. But another thing that they have said, because it demonized me, is it said that I lied about going to West Point. If I were to show you the Howitzer, which is a yearbook, I could show you, and that was my West Point picture. You know, I did indeed go to the United States Military Academy. So you go on the internet, and they have demonized me, just like we were reading earlier. Anybody who's trying to get to the truth, who's trying to find out who the criminals of 9/11 are, is being demonized. Wow. So is that a cover-up? Does that not make these people that are preventing us from getting to the truth accomplices? If they'll give me 8 years for allegedly knowing about a bank robbery, what about all these other people that knew? We know factually that they knew about 9/11. How many people were warned ahead of time not to go to the towers? And we know who warned them and who stayed away. Is that not knowing about a crime? Okay. Well, being that I'm in poverty, I wasn't able to bring all of the different amounts of money, and also, since I'm limited for time, it's probably just as well that I don't. But if you take a $1 bill, 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100, and you fold them all correctly, the same way, you fold them all the same way, it makes a motion picture, a flip chart. And you can see, and one of my friends did that And you go through the flip chart, it's a little motion picture of the towers coming up and then the towers being hit by an airplane and falling down. These people have known about this for a long time. I spent a lot of years trying to help people that had been members of the Illuminati. I was never in the occult. I was never in the Illuminati. I had compassion for these people. And that's one reason why my books and research are so special, is because for the first time, people got an inside look at the Illuminati, because I was working with these people that had been in the Illuminati, and they helped me understand the wrong. Right? And from talking to these people, various people that I would talk to would sit down with me and they would say, Fritz, I was in a meeting at such and such place at such and such time, and they ran through the events that were going to happen 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 40 years from now. These events are planned ahead of time. 9/11 was planned back when this money was first printed and designed. This thing's been on the drawing boards for a long time. And you're like maybe thinking, well, that's real strange. How could it be that this has been, that somebody in the know has known about this? I mean, the news media told us, or I should say the government was allowed by the news media to tell us, nobody could have dreamed of this happening. Oh, nobody could have thought of this happening. Really strange. But we get into looking at Hollywood's movies, and I pulled these off. This is the Hollywood movie Escape from New York, and here in this movie they have the Twin Tower and they've got it targeted there for destruction. Emergency response to terrorism, self-study. That was part of this movie back then, long before 9/11. 1976. Here we have this guy representing big business, grabbing the two towers and destroying them. Here we have, in 1976, on Sesame Street, the monster, well, what's his name?
Cookie Monster.
Yeah, the Cookie Monster, exactly. Cookie Monster's attacking the Twin Towers. Okay. 1992, we've got a comic book showing the smoking tower. The Twin Towers are being attacked. 1991, another comic book showing the Twin Towers being attacked. We even get such things as The Simpsons involved, where they have 9/11 with the towers in the cartoon, long before 9/11 became the date that the Twin Towers were taken down. Now, I know from working with people in the Illuminati, they've told me how they do these things. They put this stuff in, and it has a whole series of reasons as to why they do this stuff ahead of time. Well, one is they tell their people after the fact, you can see that we planned this. Look, our signature's all over it. Ha, ha, ha. Right? We've been, there's a lot of other things involved, and I may or may not get to them, depending on how time goes here. But there's other reasons why they implant all the symbolism before they actually do it. It revolves around mind control triggers, and which is what these books are written about. These are written about, in fact, I'll just jump into that because I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have. In fact, our last speaker has got a book here on Tavistock Institute, which was involved in, it was one of the institutions that was researching mind control techniques that were put together in a sophisticated package. This thing's, I got the privilege to expose this Illuminati mind control, this total mind control, that's been going on for thousands of years. In the 20th century, it was made more sophisticated. And one of the things that's developed within the the victim of the mind control, excuse me, cameraman, moving around on me. See if I can find. Let me show this to you first. This is a page out of a book showing that when you take MRIs and other scans of somebody who's a multiple personality and somebody who isn't, their brains are actually physically different. Now, the mind control works off of creating multiple personality disorder, which is called DID nowadays. And these are some of the books by victims of this kind of mind control that covers. And what they do is after you are subjected to that kind of mind control, you have thousands of triggers and codes in there. And so this all relates, there's a whole deeper level to the icon and symbology of 9/11 than just the simple stuff that we're dealing with here. When I started working with these people, I spent a number of years in whatever capacity I could, giving them therapy or counseling or help in any form I could. And my house was open 24/7. People would come from around the world, and they might stay at my place for a month or two while we tried to give them some help. Free. It was all free. And in working with these victims of the mind control, there's certain structures that are built into the mind. I know I'm talking up here, and I haven't had the time to lay the groundwork on this. And we're just kind of going into the heart of something, without laying the foundation for you to understand. But this came, and I wasn't able to print it out in black. It comes right out of this book here, which was published in 1996, long before 9/11. So this has to do with the mind control. This is research that was done way before 9/11. But you'll notice in me showing these structures that are built into the mind, these are controlling structures. Here we have a castle with two towers, right? And here we have this revolving thing with icons that are symbols that is a timepiece, right? Well, within the mind of these mind-controlled slaves, which is what the Illuminati do with their members, they can reset the clock. And what I discovered is they were using watershed events as a way to reset the clock. Okay? So what I'm telling you is that there's people out there under mind control, and when they would see on the television the Twin Towers coming down, that would do things within their programming. It was a programming trigger to set their clocks. Now, maybe they have programming to do this, this, and this. That programming is not kicked in until they see Princess Di killed, or they see the towers go down. We've got Twin Towers here in Portland, right? The convention center. And one of the people I worked with had programming around those Twin Towers in the convention center. Now, talking about twin pillars, we were talking about Joachim and Boaz. This is the New Age magazine, which is the official organ of the Supreme Council, the 33rd degree Freemasonry. It's been renamed the magazine in recent years. But here's your twin pillars, or your twin towers. So this, what I started to show you, is a game. It's just a game. But somebody came out with this in the 1990s, and the name of it's Illuminati New World Order. And these cards represent different things of Illuminati control. On the back, you see the puppet master, and you see the strings going to New World Order, right? Well, interestingly,